Hey, everybody. This episode is brought to you, as always, by Troycast.com. Check us out. Our website is www.troycast.com. You can find our blog there and most of the content that we produce. You can also find this podcast there. Give us a check out. Again, that's www.troycast.com. Also, don't forget, we're doing our special podcast launch promotion for the month of September. If you go on iTunes and leave us a review, you're automatically entered into a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card. We will announce the winner in our first show in October. So don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes for a shot at that $25. All right, our show tonight is a little bit different than our standard interview format. As I said in our introduction episode, every once in a while we're going to go off track and visit things like TV, movies, pop culture, sports, and the like. So tonight we're going to be talking about the finale of Big Brother 21, which is coming out on CBS on Wednesday. I'm a big Big Brother Survivor junkie, and I have my special pop culture expert coming on to discuss it. So my guest tonight has been a good friend of mine for over 30 years. Like myself, she is also a Big Brother and Survivor junkie. So I decided to bring her on and break down the season and get some predictions for the upcoming finale. So please welcome to the show, Erin Miller. All right, Erin, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Good to talk to you.
Are you recovered from watching the Emmys last night?
I am. It was a late night. I'm tired. I'm still a little bummed about them, but I'm good.
What were you bummed about?
I was bummed that Amelia didn't win Best Actress.
Oh, that's right. She didn't. What? Who ended up winning that category?
Jodie Comer from Killing Eve. And I'm not a huge fan of Killing Eve at all, so it was like super, super double knife to the heart.
You know, Game of Thrones has gotten a lot of love from the Emmys over the time, and I think they got some complete body of work love last night just for
totally.
Their last season wasn't all that great. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it definitely was inferior to some of the other seasons. I kind of feel like they got some sympathy for their whole body of work, and it's kind of like a goodbye thing. Like when the third Lord of the Rings won Best Picture that year in the Oscars. Yep. I don't think it really was the best movie, but I think they were just being rewarded for the whole trilogy.
No, totally agree. I wasn't surprised that none of the Best Supporting Actresses won. There were 4 of them, so obviously split the vote. And I wasn't surprised that Kit Harington didn't win. He didn't really talk much in the season, but I really thought Amelia was going to win. And obviously Peter Dinklage won because he's amazing. So
I always like watching the Emmys because there's always a show that I either haven't heard of or I just haven't checked out yet. And last year it was The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And I
started watching. I just watched the first season. It's fantastic.
It's so good. It's so well done.
Yes.
I feel like they nailed that time period really well. I mean, at least from what I've seen. I obviously wasn't there.
I felt like the 2 biggest winners last night were actually limited series, and it was Fleabag and When They See Us. I know When They See Us is on Netflix. I'm not sure what Fleabag's on, but those were like the 2 like really big winners, I thought, from limited series.
I think Fleabag's on Amazon. I'm not positive.
Okay, that sounds right.
Do you know anything?
Right. I believe it's a British show, and I think it's a comedy.
Do you know anything
about it? I don't know much about it. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it yet.
So that's on my list to watch this year. My wife and I are watching Billions. Have you heard of that yet?
Yes, and I don't have Showtime. And my dad just watched it and rented it all from the library. So that's actually one of the things I'll be doing sometime this winter.
Is he enjoying it?
My gosh, he loved it. He thought it was excellent.
It's really well done. It has Damian Lewis from Band of Brothers. You know, you ever see Band of Brothers back in the day?
I didn't. No. Mark watched that. He really liked that.
Yeah, it was awesome. So the main character on there was this redhead captain named Dick Winters, played by Damian Lewis, who's a fantastic actor, and he does a great job. Obviously, Paul Giamatti's in it too, and Paul Giamatti could freaking act out the phone book, and I would watch it because he's just that.
Yeah, I like him.
He's one of those actors you kind of have to just anything you see you got to watch because he's good. Have you ever seen Sideways with him in it?
Yes, weird movie, but he was really good.
Yes, that's one.
That's where Sandra Oh came from before she was on Grey's Anatomy.
Was it really? That was before Grey's.
I'm pretty sure it was right when it started. Yeah, but that was like the first big thing she was in.
That was such a random movie. I don't know how I stumbled across it, but I remember watching it for the first time, and it has Lowell. Remember the show Wings from the 90s?
Yes.
Remember Lowell?
Yep.
Well, that was Lowell. That dude was Lowell. I can't remember his real name.
Yeah, no, I know exactly who you're talking about. I think it was nominated for a bunch of stuff. So I'm sure that's probably why I watched it at some point, because it was an Oscar movie.
You know, another thing I was surprised about last night is I didn't see or hear Handmaid's Tale come up as much as I thought I
Okay,
would.
here's why, because I actually looked into that. It's because the release date of The Handmaid's Tale, I feel like it was like the end of June, and the way they released The Handmaid's Tale was like once a week. So you have to have at least half your series out before the deadline, and they didn't make the deadline. But there were several guest actors that were able to submit their stuff because their episodes were out. So Handmaid's Tale will actually see at the next Emmys.
What a ripoff, because I feel like
Right?
everybody's going to forget about it by then.
I agree. I think it's so weird because that's clearly a show, and actors and actresses that should be nominated for stuff. Now I think we'll get to see it at the Golden Globes in January. I would assume that the timeline for that is a little different since it's like 4 months later. So we'll probably see it there.
Yeah, I feel like Elizabeth Moss should be up there. I think the lady that plays Serena.
Yes,
Her
definitely.
name's
I don't know her name, but yes, definitely.
Yvonne Stravinsky. I'm probably
Yes.
slaughtering the hell out of that, but
Yes, yes.
she should be up there too, I feel. And then
I think she was nominated last year for either an Emmy or a Globe.
yeah, I think you're right, and she may have won. I don't know if she did or not, but
Yeah.
And then Bradley Whitford, man, where he just comes out of nowhere. He was Eric and Billy Madison way back in the day.
Yes, love him. He's got a new show coming out this fall too. But he was so good. His character was so great on it. He was so likable in such a strange, show.
Did you happen to see his interview before the show?
I didn't. No.
So they interviewed him on the red carpet. I don't remember who it was.
I was on E, so I missed a lot of people.
I was watching it on Fox, and by the way, Shannon Sharp should not be allowed back on the red carpet. He was kind of terrible. He needs to stick to football. But anyways, they were interviewing Bradley Whitford, and he said something interesting that kind of made me think that they may be turning his character next season into more of a villain. He's kind of at that spot in the show right now where you're not quite so sure what he is. He could be a villain, but then he'll go and do something great. And then he'll turn around.
I think he's going to get kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's probably going to get persecuted big time there if he doesn't do something to save himself.
Right. So I can't remember what the question was that they asked him, but they asked him something about the show, and I think it was, oh gosh, who was the lady interviewing? Jenny McCarthy. She brought up something about how her and her friends or everybody loves his character on Handmaid's Tale, and he'd said something to the effect of, well, you might just have to, or be careful of something. I don't remember what he said, but it was basically alluded to the fact where, he said, I hope his character is worthy of your attention next season or something like that. So kind of made me believe that maybe they've already started filming and he knows that.
Yeah. And he knows that he's turning.
Yeah. So, all right. So anyways, Big Brother.
Oh yeah.
Big finale coming up on Wednesday. I can't wait. I
know. Kind of ready for it to be over, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over too. I think, and I might be wrong on this, but I want to say I don't think the show lasted this deep into September.
No, they're getting longer and longer. This one is 99 days, and I know I didn't start watching until maybe season 11, but it was like 80 some days then. So this is almost probably 2.5 weeks longer than And I imagine back in the day it was even shorter than that. So yeah, this has felt pretty long.
Yeah, it seemed like to me that it was usually wrapped up right around the time my kids were starting school. And then now it's damn near, it's going to be pretty much October before it's said and done with.
Last year was just about as long. And the only reason I remember is because the Survivor premiere, the lead in for it. And then Big Brother was after that. So I do kind of remember that. But yeah, pretty long. So I'm ready. I'm ready to wrap it up. And I'm ready for these guys to get on Twitter and feel the wrath and see what's going to happen.
I know, that's part of the fun. I love when they bash the hell out of each other as soon as they get out of the house. Wait. And then they're all best friends within 2 weeks and they all love each other. And and then the showmance is split up unless you're Cody and Jessica.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing I want to know is what the hell jobs do these people have that they can just pack up and leave their job for 3 months and be on a reality TV show?
Howie is a wine safari guide.
Yeah, I got to believe that maybe
there's
probably a little bit of leeway in that job.
Yeah, well, I think Nicole's like a preschool teacher, so I think she was probably maybe off during the summer, so maybe that worked out for her. For some of them, but not everybody is a teacher and gets the summer off. So
Mickey's a server, so even if he loses his job, he can go elsewhere.
Right. Well, maybe not after this, but yeah.
My wife was telling me, and I'm sure she was half joking, but she's like, "You should try out," and I'm like, "No, there's no way in hell." I really doubt my job would say, go ahead, take the summer off and go be on reality TV and 2, I just don't think I could handle being in a house with a bunch of 20-somethings for 90 days.
That would be the hardest part, right? Because obviously those are the kind of people they cast now.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought like, oh, I could do Survivor, but then I was like, who am I kidding? I couldn't handle the bugs. But Big Brother, I was like, yeah, I could do that. But it's like those millennials. I mean, I don't want to talk bad about millennials, but yeah, that would be the hardest part for me is the younger crowd for sure.
Now, wait a minute. I want to go back to Survivor for a minute. So
yeah,
you draw the line at bugs. It's not the lack of food or the cold.
It's the spiders. It's the spiders specifically.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That would be for me would be the starvation and the cold. I can't.
I mean, does that sound fun to me? No, but it's the spiders for sure that I couldn't sleep. Nope.
So say you're 25 again. Which show would you rather be on?
Probably be better off on Big Brother.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think Big Brother would drive me nuts no matter what age it was, but I think I would do better on Big Brother, and I think that I would be able to handle the conditions a little bit better.
Yeah, totally. Especially being 25 again, it's before all the social media. So if we're actually going back that far in time, be before social media, before I was, had a phone strapped to me all the time, watch Netflix all the time, it would be easier to, go away. Now, obviously leaving, being where we are in our lives, leaving our kids, leaving, the stuff that we're leaving, it would be a lot harder to be locked away in Big Brother, I think.
Yeah. And it seems like now they have just one token older person. Like this year was Cliff.
Yeah. And I laugh. I mean, will we be that older person at this point?
See, that's the other thing my wife said. She, I don't know if she was just being nice and stopped herself, but she stopped herself and she goes, "You would be," and I looked at her and I think she was going to say you would be the Cliff if you were to go on there. And I really took that bad. I didn't like that.
I know, because it really is crazy. I mean, I think that's about as old as they get now. I think Holly is the next oldest at 32-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they need to reevaluate how they're casting people though. Because I think they are casting too many people who they're recruiting versus, people who actually have seen the show and understand it and want to play it. But that's probably a whole nother discussion.
Well, I think they need to know their audience, because I don't think that I know that when I was the age that these contestants were 25 and such, I wasn't watching Big Brother. I don't think I started watching until I was late 20s, maybe early 30s.
Yep.
I want to say Giesling's maybe his
he was
season.
season 10, and I started watching right after when you told me to. And I actually went back and I watched Evil Dick's season. And I think that's the only one I watched Dan's season. I watched his first season that you had said. I mean, obviously I saw his second one. I think the first one I may have watched was when Jordan and Jeff were on for the second time. Maybe that might have been the first season. So somewhere around 11, 12, something like that.
Now that you mention it, I think Evil Dick may have been my first season, but I don't think I watched it religiously until the following season, which would have been Giesling, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So can we agree that Giesling is the GOAT of Big Brother, or are you
100%.
on Dr. What's his name?
I never watched a season with Dr. Will. So I don't know. So I really don't have that to compare it to. But when I think of the GOATs, I think of Boston Rob for Survivor and Dan for Big Brother.
I think we're gonna have to come back to this conversation in a few minutes here, because I think Jackson Mickey has a solid argument to be in the conversation at least now.
Oh, well, that depends on how you look at things, I guess, because if you deep dive and look and see how he's played his season and how much production has helped him, I feel there are things he's done himself, like the whole Tommy thing. He orchestrated that himself, I believe, but I feel he got taken off Slop. They got rid of Slop. They got rid of Have-Nots because of all of his issues. And I just feel production has really helped him and guided him in his journey, let's say.
He's definitely a competition beast.
For sure. Definitely nothing against that. For sure he is.
I don't know the whole story about the Slop story about him. I did see a video of him sneaking some food in the shower when he was supposed to be on Slop, but I guess I didn't realize that they totally got rid of Slop after that or soon after.
I guess if you're just watching the show, we're just watching every 3 times a week. You watch Mickey and they're giving him this great edit, he's this wonderful guy. But if you watch, if you have too much time on your hands like myself and you follow along on Twitter. Now, I don't watch the live feeds, but I rely on people like Hamster Watch and, other people on Twitter to tell me what's actually happening. And there really has been a lot of stuff that's gone down that is really questionable with him. Yeah. So he was on Slop and he was sneaking food in the shower. He was taking showers 5 times a day. Then he was hiding food like in like other containers in the refrigerator, in different drawers, and in his drawer in his room. Then it came down to the fact that he might have some sort of eating disorder, and he have some mental health issues. So they basically like canceled slop and have nots, so he didn't have to be on it anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you think he got a favorable edit?
Oh, I think he got a very favorable edit based on what I've seen on the live feeds and heard, and like how he acts and all like the racist comments he had in the beginning, and how he treats Holly, and how he like slammed the door in Nicole's face in the early on. Like, I think he's gotten a pretty favorable edit.
Yeah, if that's the case, he definitely got a favorable edit, but I wouldn't say that they've portrayed him in a positive light. I think
they're sugarcoating it. I think they definitely have showed some negative sides of him, but I feel like they haven't shown, I feel like they've maybe showed like a tenth of what his real like villain side is.
Yeah, I think I want to say they kind of poke fun at him a little bit by emphasizing some of his sayings, like the confetti saying that he says over and over.
True. I do think they have done some of that. And even on the live feeds now, I heard they've been like kind of making fun of him. They'll like show him, and then they'll like zoom in on a watermelon, because he's had like hundreds of watermelons all summer.
Isn't that insane?
Bizarre. It's bizarre. Like, I've never seen anybody eat watermelon like this. Like, it's a great fruit and all, but it's very strange how much he's eating watermelon.
He is very bizarre. So
yeah,
going back to the beginning, do you remember week 1? Who were you liking in the first week?
I want to say Cliff probably stood out to me. I'm always kind of like partial to the older guy or woman, whoever it is. So I definitely liked Cliff. I was kind of pulling for him to get that first camp director. I was kind of pulling for him. I definitely also liked Kat, because they kept showing her and she was funny. I mean, she was just good TV, so it's hard to not like the person in the diary room who's just like a hoot. I liked David, but he was so quick that it's like he left my mind pretty fast. And I think I liked Tommy, because again, how could you not like Tommy? I mean, he just seemed like such a bubbly, happy person. Yeah, how could you not like Tommy? So those were probably the people who stood out to me the most.
So Kat grew on me, and I might be wrong on this, but didn't her and Mickey have a romantic thing going on at the very beginning?
This is what I heard. Okay, so I guess the cameras aren't on like the first 2 days. I guess they start on day 3 or something. And yes, I heard day 1, the two of them hooked up.
Yeah, I thought they kind of showed like
they did. I guess they didn't show the quote unquote hookup part.
Right.
But yes, we did see that they had like a bit of a romantic connection, because then we see him dump her.
Yeah, and I don't think that's ever been seen on Big Brother before. So Mickey is another pioneer where he had 2 showmances in one season. Although Nick, Mr. Bowcut, he's right behind him.
Oh yeah, and if you count Tommy in there, he's on 3. So
That's true.
There was definitely a little flirtation between him and Tommy. So
yeah, I think that was strategic on Nick's part. I think he was flirting with him a little bit
for sure.
Try to get a little bit of a in favor of him or whatnot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, Nick's a tough one. I don't know how I feel about Nick.
Going into it, I thought that Jack or Jackson, I thought they were going to be, one of them was going to go far because they're the obvious physical threat. You get these big bodybuilder type bodies.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always work out in the show. And then I also, to be honest with you, I felt that Annalise was going to go far because she was kind of quiet and stealth and kind of hid in the background,
Yep. And her promo video was great. She seemed like this like super athletic girl who was going to be, pretty smart.
I didn't think Christy was going to go anywhere near as far as she actually did, just because of how loud and dramatic she is. Yes. I thought they would get sick of her and get rid of her a lot sooner than they did.
Agreed.
I thought Jessica I thought she was going to go pretty far. I think floaters can go far in this game as long as they make some kind of a move to let people know that they've taken a side. And
agree. And I feel like Kat was kind of playing a good floater game between both sides for a long time. And she got lucky because she was on the outside of the big alliance, but she had a connection with Holly. So I felt like she was being kept kind of safe by Holly because Holly knew her and Holly wanted to keep her around.
So what did you think? What did you think of Cliff coming into it? Did you think he was going to go far, or did you think that he was going to be an early departure?
I assumed he'd be an early departure just based on the fact that he was an older guy, because that just seems to happen a lot.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, he kind of was an early departure and then won his way back in.
Yeah, I forgot about that until a couple of days ago. He was one of the first 3 to be voted off, and then they went to that, what was it, camp comeback?
Yep.
And then he won the comp.
Oh yeah, he was the 4th one voted off, right? Because there were 4 of them.
Oh, was there
it
4?
Was David and Ovi and Kemi were already there.
Oh, Kemi was one of the first. She was one of the first ones too.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, David. I mean, poor David didn't even get to play. And then I think Ovi and then Kemi.
Yeah, David got screwed. He kind of got thrown up there didn't Mickey put him up there in the first?
Yep. Those were the 4 that Mickey put up. No, Mickey didn't put Cliff up. He put those 3 up and Jessica.
Right, and then Cliff went up the next week, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I feel bad for David. See, those are the kind of twists I don't really like that these games do. I mean, these people, put aside their whole lives and they're so excited to get on, and then he doesn't even get voted out. It's just a stupid, chance thing that he doesn't get in.
Yeah. What'd you think of Sam?
I liked Sam. He reminded me of a player a couple years ago, and I can't think of his name now. He was the dentist. He was loud, just like Sam.
I'm drawing a blank on that.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts. I'll think of it. But I liked Sam. I thought he was a nice guy. I thought he was a little dense in the game. Obviously when he was finding out about these big alliances. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm in this. Oh wait, and he realizes he's on the outside. I think it would have been smarter of him to shake that alliance up and tell all the outsiders about it and try and form an outsiders alliance. But instead he just went along with the group. So I don't think his gameplay was really good, but I liked him as a person. I enjoyed him as a character on the show.
He kind of had a Charlie Day kind of vibe, the voice, the mannerisms. Yeah. I like that about Sam. I wish that he would have gone farther.
Yeah, I thought he was a little annoying in the diary room because he was so loud, but it's also kind of what I liked about him. He was different, He wasn't, crying in there like Christy or everybody else.
All right, so now we're down to the final 3. We have Jackson, we have Holly, and we have Nicole. As we already know, Jackson, Mickey, what have you, he won the first part. Who are you thinking are we going to end up with here?
Okay, well, am I allowed to talk about how we already know who won part 2 because it already happened?
Yeah, you know what? Why not? Because people are already talking about it on the internet.
Okay, because I feel like it'll change my answers based on, So we already know that Holly wins part 2.
Right.
I don't really know what happened. I still don't really know what it was. We heard it was going to be a remembering, what happened on each day comp. I heard that Nicole hurt her knee on that first part of the HOH. And then I heard something happened to Nicole during the second HOH part of it. But anyway, so it sounds like Holly won part 2. So it sounds like it's down to Holly and Mickey for the final part. My thought is that Holly and Mickey are going to the final 2 no matter what. I think the only shot Nicole has at this point is to kind of play to both of them in different ways. I mean, she's got to basically tell Mickey, you screwed all these people over. They're going to give Holly the money. They're going to see that Holly was working with you the whole time and they're going to give you the money. I think she has to talk to Holly and be like, dude, Jackson's the comp beast. He's going to win. Why would you take him to the final 2? It's basically a death sentence. So I think that's really the only shot she has to try and get there. Otherwise, I definitely think it's a showman's final 2.
What percentage do you give Nicole to making it in the final 2 or talking her way into the final 2?
I think it's pretty slim. I'd say she's maybe got a 10% shot.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think she's got about a 10%
slim.
chance.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like I think she's probably coming to terms with that too. But I think it sounds like she's still trying though. Sounds like based on what the feedsters are saying, she's still trying and working every angle she can. So
do you think she regrets listening to Cliff and voting Tommy out?
I have to believe 1,000% that she regrets it. Honestly, the double eviction I thought could have gone. I mean, I felt like they maybe could have gotten Mickey out in the double eviction, but I don't think it was the worst thing in the world to get Christy out either, because you're basically splitting up another duo, which they didn't really realize at the time, but it was an important duo. But I do think taking Holly over Tommy was just stupid. At the same time, though, Nicole really didn't have a choice in the matter, because even if she were to keep Tommy, Cliff was going to keep Holly and Mickey was going to be the tiebreaker. So I really kind of, shame on Cliff for not really realizing that there's no way Mickey's taking you to final 2.
Yeah, does Cliff go down as, I don't want to call him a dumb player because he played a very smart game up until that point.
I agree.
But do you think that's one of the most boneheaded moves that's been made in the game?
I think it's a pretty big one. Yeah.
I don't know how
I
you. I don't
can't
know
think
how.
of a bunch off the top of my head, but I definitely think that that was not smart. I mean, other than Cody taking Derek to the final two, I mean, that was pretty stupid because he was never going to beat Derek. But yeah, I don't think Cliff made a smart move there.
I just don't understand what. I know he thought he had a loyal agreement with Mickey, but I mean, come on, man. Their showmance wasn't a secret.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. Like Cliff kept talking about this gentleman's agreement, this handshake, which I completely understand. And from Cliff's era, 100%, that is something to hang your hat on. But come on, this is a couple that's been together since day 3. Did he really think? I mean, he must have. He must have really thought. But like, come on. But I wish Nicole would have beat that into Cliff a little bit more. Like, why are we doing this? Like, what is happening? I mean, I know that was very dramatic, that whole eviction, and it literally came down to, it looks like, minutes before. But I think that right there was like what really hurt them. I think we could be looking at a completely different final 3 right now had that,
Yeah,
not happened.
As I told you a couple weeks ago, I said they need to get rid of the only way they're going to win is they have to get rid of Mickey whenever they can. You have to, a player like that, you have to take your shot when you have it. And the way keeping Holly and getting rid of Tommy, they really set themselves up for failure. I mean, they were pretty much doomed at that point, and there was no turning back because you let Holly and Jackson stay together, and you have not only one person, but you have 2 people looking out for each other. Where if you would have kept Tommy, yes, you would have had a hard time. Anybody would have a hard time beating Tommy in the final 2, but you can't worry about the final 2 until you get there. And when you still have a powerful showmance in the show like Mickey and Holly, I can't believe that Cliff didn't see that or didn't think that way, and I can't believe that he convinced Nicole. That was
I know. I can't either.
I
feel like Nicole didn't put up enough of a fight for that. And what I don't understand is, I know they viewed Tommy and Christy as a duo, but at the time they didn't realize how tight of a duo they were. So to me, Mickey and Holly would have been a closer duo. So like, why not try and split that up? Like, I don't really understand that, because at that time they'd already split Christy and Tommy up. So like, why would you not split up the other duo? I mean, Cliff was really just thinking about himself. He really just thought, like, Mickey's taking me to final 2.
Yeah, and I think that they were hanging their hat on this final 4 deal that they had. And my wife was talking about this the other day. She said that when you get down to that few of players, you got to throw all alliances to the side. At that point, it's
absolutely.
Every person for themselves. Gloves are off.
You talked about final 4, but the fact that you even made it to final 5, like, come on.
Yeah. So now I think Mickey, in my opinion, Mickey's going to get his confetti.
I do too. I think he's going to too. The only way I think he doesn't is if Tommy really works the jury house, because I've also heard that Cliff doesn't actually go to the jury house. I heard that Cliff, when he left, will go to a hotel, and then the next day he comes in to the jury roundtable. And then after jury roundtable, I heard they're all sequestered into hotels. So I think that Tommy is really the only person that can convince this jury not to vote Mickey. Now, the question is, I feel like if you're talking about Mickey and Nicole up there, I feel like the jury's like, okay, well, I can see why maybe we'd vote Nicole, because Nicole, had a hand in voting all of us out, and she split up Tommy and Christy, yada, yada, yada. But can you give Holly the money over Mickey? Because I feel like if you asked me a month ago, I thought Holly was playing a pretty good game, but I feel like in the last 30 days, she's literally just been Jackson's sidekick. I
think that Holly could talk herself into a win, but I don't think she's going to. I don't know if she's capable of, and I'm not saying anything against her intelligence or anything like that.
No.
I just don't think that she's going to be able to do what she needs to do to convince a jury of why she would be the person to pick over Jackson.
Yeah.
And so I think she's going to be fighting an uphill battle. So if you look at the jury right now, we got Cliff.
Yep.
Well, let me backtrack that. Okay, so you brought up Tommy, and you think that Tommy, the only way that Holly has a chance is if Tommy gets to the jury, if Tommy convinces the jury. So here's my thing with Tommy. Tommy is such a fan of the game, even when he got voted out, even after all that shit he went through Mickey saying he was lying and
Mhm.
Tommy defending himself and crying. By the way, he almost had me crying. I felt so bad.
I know, I did too.
It was so horrible to see
It
Tommy
was
so
hard to
upset.
watch Tommy cry because you could tell how hurt he was.
He's just such a happy person.
Yeah.
It sucked to see him like that. But even after he was voted out, I think the first thing he said, he had a smile on his face, and I can't remember exactly what he said to Mickey, but it was something to the effect where, like, no hard feelings, it's just a game, and you got me. And then when he came out to talk to Julie, he kept emphasizing the game, the game, the game. And I think Tommy is such a fan of the game that he will respect the gameplay. And I don't think that he's going to be a bitter jury member.
Well, I agree with that too. If Jackson's sitting next to Holly, I feel like if Jackson's sitting next to Nicole, things go a different way. But I don't think that's the case. So I do think that you're right that Tommy could give his vote to Jackson based on the fact that he is actually one of the few people in this house who actually is a fan of the game that understands what's happening.
So Kat to me is a wild card. I'm not sure
Agreed.
what way she would vote, and I don't know how big of a fan she was going into the show. So I have no idea if she's going to respect the game or if she's going to just vote for whoever she likes better. So
I feel like Kat might vote for Holly just for the fact that A, they know each other, and B, I really don't think Kat likes Jackson. I really think that that's not her favorite person. So
yeah, I think I forgot about that. She does have that connection with Holly, and I think they were pretty close inside the house as well.
Yeah.
So the biggest wild card for me is going to be probably Cliff. I don't know how he's going to vote. Now, how about let's go back to talking about Cliff's final episode where he was talking to Jackson, and I think he was in the bathroom, where Cliff puts that smile on his face and basically says, "You send me to jury, and I'm going to turn the jury against you."
Yep.
So he said it in a much nicer way than that, and he had this big smile on his face.
Well, he smiled. Yep.
I loved it. Cliff reeled me back in as a fan. I thought, man,
that was funny.
What a baller move. I hope it works. Unfortunately, it didn't, but I totally respect Cliff actually making a brainful move.
I do too. I mean, up until the end, like still trying to, because at that point he was up against Holly, right? So he was like trying to get Jackson to vote out Holly. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate the fact that he basically campaigned up until, the last second. And it was actually a pretty good move, I don't really like how Jackson responded, but
threw a little mantrum there, but
yeah.
But that was you know what? And Cliff may have had a good point. If he follows through on his threat, that could be Mickey's undoing. Because if he goes in there and he blows up Jackson's game, that could be a $500,000 mistake for Jackson to not keep him in there. But I kind of have a gut feeling that Cliff is going to get rid of the sour grapes before the round table.
I do too. I think Cliff's going to appreciate the move as a game level and, yada, yada, yada. But I'll actually be interested to see who's doing the jury roundtable because it's been Dr. Will for the last few years.
Yeah.
But on Twitter, Jessica Graff, do you know who she is? Do you remember her from a couple years ago, the one married to Cody?
Yep.
She had made a comment on Twitter asking, what questions do you want asked at the jury roundtable? And then people started questioning, is she doing the jury roundtable? So if she's doing the jury roundtable, she is a big Jackson fan. So really? I could see her pushing the jury towards, wanting Jackson to win. And I also feel like the show itself and production has wanted Jackson to win. So I feel like in gender, who's ever doing jury roundtable, I'll be interested to see how it goes because I think Big Brother wants Jackson to win also.
Going back to the jury, I think Jack is going to be a vote for Jackson no matter what.
I do too.
They had their couple spat, and then I think
they did. But I think they were friends when he walked out, though. If I can remember, it was a long time ago because he was the first one in jury. But if I remember correctly, by the time he finally walked out, they were cool with each other. So I definitely think doesn't matter who's up there, he's picking Jackson.
And what do you think Nick votes?
Nick, if it's Jackson and Holly, I think he's going to go for Jackson too.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
I mean, I think Holly could maybe get Jessica, maybe Annalise because Jackson sent Jessica and Annalise out the door, which again, why are those the people he's sending out the door? What was he doing?
I don't know.
But I think that they would be 2 votes for Holly. Christy's another wild card kind of to me because she didn't like Jackson either, but she continued to just tell everybody how much she loves them. So I think she's another one that could maybe forgive and forget and vote Jackson to win.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if her and Jackson kind of had a complicated relationship near the end of the show there. Jackson really wanted to get her out. I don't know how much of that was reciprocated, but I think that she is also a wild card. I kind of lean towards her voting for Holly. I agree. She's a wild card. Jessica, I have no idea how she would vote.
Jessica's probably gonna not realize what she's doing and vote for the wrong person. She is so strange to me because the week that she was HOH, it was like she was clicking. She knew what was going on. She puts the two, Jack and Jackson up and she's getting one of them out and she does. It was like she knew what was happening. As soon as her HOH was over, she goes back into La La Land and she is like completely clueless. And she gets out whenever she got evicted. She goes out and talks to Julie and talks about how she's mad at Nicole. I'm like, how are you mad at Nicole? She's the only person in the house who was nice to you and told you the truth and whatever. She's a weird one to me. I'm really not sure what she's going to do.
What about Annalise?
Annalise, I think will vote for Holly.
Yeah,
I do.
I think so
unless Jackson talks her into voting unless Jack talks her into voting for Jackson. I could see that happening too.
Now, are they still a thing?
I think the last segment we saw in Jury House, they had been spending a lot of time together, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right on that.
Yeah, remember? And then we also found out that Kat and Nick had gotten very close. Very odd.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Annalise and Jack are still having a showmance in the Jury House.
So when they asked Nick about Bella, how priceless was his reaction?
Oh, God. That was fantastic. I mean, oh, Nick. I don't really understand how Nick was able to pull two women in this game. I mean, did they not see his hair?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why did he never have a shirt on?
You said that you don't know how he was able to pull two women in one game. I don't know how he's been able to pull two women in life. He was very. I don't know how the hell this guy was a counselor. To be honest with you,
I mean, he's one I'm really questioning. Is he going to have a job when he gets out of here? Because some of the stuff he did in that house, obviously they weren't showing it on the show. But in the live feeds, some of the stuff he was doing and saying was just so inappropriate. So I'll be very interested to see the afterlife of some of these people.
He just seemed very whiny, very mopey to me. And I'm just like, man, somebody pays this guy for life advice?
For children. He was like a kids counselor.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Okay, so who gets your vote for America's favorite player?
Nicole, hands down. I love Nicole.
Since you picked Nicole, by the way, would have been my pick too. But I'm going to have to go with somebody different just for the sake of the show. And I'm going to say my vote would go for Tommy.
I think those are probably the top two. They're both so likable. How can you not like the two of them? I think the thing that hurts Tommy is his association with Christy, actually.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think Christy had some friends in the house as well. But you're talking about for the audience?
Yeah, for the audience.
Yeah.
And I feel like what really is helping Nicole is these last few weeks and some of her diary sessions that they're showing on TV and some of the stuff and how she's kind of standing up to Mickey. I think that America is really starting to, relate to her. I mean, here she is, she says on the outside she has no friends and she's just this odd duckling. And I feel like America is just kind of falling in love with her. I feel like she's just like America's sweetheart. Yeah,
I agree with that. And I think, overall, I don't know how much Broadway actors make, but I got to believe that they make more than preschool teachers. So yeah, I guess on that front, I would give Nicole my vote for AFP.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, since she's probably not going to make Final Two, I'm hoping that she at least gets America's favorite player.
All right. What else can you think of?
I don't know. I'd love to talk about what would be the scenario if, it wasn't Jackson in the finals, but I don't even think that's a scenario. It's probably not even worth discussing because he's going to be there. So I'm wondering what the roundtable, if they'll actually give him, some good questions. I'm wondering if they'll make him, I kind of want them to make him freak out, during their questioning.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What does Holly have to do to convince a jury to vote her over Jackson?
I think the fact that she stayed off the block for so long is a really big deal. She did win 2 HOHs. I actually think she was the first one to win a second HOH. I can't remember now for the life of me who she sent out on her HOH. Her first one would have been early, and I can't remember who her second one was. But I feel like I think that's going to be a big asset for her, is that she stayed off the block for so long.
So here's my thing is, Holly, in order to convince this jury that she deserves it over Jackson, she is going to have to get dirty and get her hands dirty.
Yeah.
And she's not going to do that. If you were to tell me one of them got dirty in their argument, hands down, it's going to be Mickey. He's the one that's going to sacrifice the showmance for the money.
100%. Even just these last 2 weeks, everything he talks to her about is, like you said earlier, I want the confetti. I want the confetti. Everything is about his end game. And she's just the sweet girlfriend who like lets him talk about it. Everything's about his game. Nothing's about her, you know? So I agree. She's going to have to get her hands dirty and say some nasty things if she wants to win, but she's not going to.
No, she would have to get dirty, and then she would also have to basically minimize the moves he's made and minimize his accomplishments in the house.
Yeah, I mean, if she throws him under the bus and is like, you got Annalise and Jessica out, like, but then that might not be smart either, because those are probably 2 votes for her. I don't really know what she can say though. Like, what do you think she can actually say to make them?
Other than throwing him under the bus just for character flaws, I don't see, and backstabbing and lying.
Right.
That's the only thing.
Because, I mean, you can't deny the fact that he's a competition beast. I mean, he's won 10 or 11 things now. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's why, and I want to get back to the conversation about the GOAT. That's why I don't know if I would make him the GOAT over Giesling and Dr. Will, and definitely Derek's in the conversation too. But I think this season puts him definitely in the top 5.
Yeah, the only thing, like I said before, the only reason I don't like agree is just the fact that I've heard so much that production is helping him with so many different things. But if you're just watching the show and not realizing some of this stuff, then yeah, I mean, he makes this move on Tommy, which was brilliant. I mean, it made me sad because I liked Tommy, but what he did was brilliant, because I think that's the only reason that Nicole was really like, and really shook Nicole up and was like, okay, well, maybe we do just get rid of Tommy then.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why I would vault him up in the top 5 is for that specific move, orchestrating that whole thing with getting Tommy out. I mean, I give the guy credit. I didn't think he had it in him. I didn't think he had a plan like that in him. And
I didn't either. I mean, exactly, to actually like orchestrate something intelligent and like a game move like that,
and then execute it.
Yeah,
which is exactly what he did. And he held to it. He told a bold-faced lie and convinced these 2 people that he was telling the truth. And
he
I don't
lied
know,
well too.
I don't think Nicole believed him anyways.
I don't think Nicole did either, but I think it shook everything up enough for her to just be like, okay. You know, part of me was like, does she want to go against Mickey at this point? Like, my gosh, she has to spend another 2-3 weeks with him in this house at that point. Like, she might have been scared how he was going to act if she didn't keep Holly.
Right. So
I don't know that I'd want to be locked in a house with a scared, Jackson that's all off the rails.
So did you notice his weight gain in the show?
Oh, dramatically, yes.
See, I don't see it. My wife brought it up last night, and I've looked at pictures, and I don't see it. But is it?
If you look at his very first interview when he was interviewed by Jeff, look at his face. It's like very thin, like very like square jaw, and now his face is much fuller. And also in the first few episodes, maybe first few weeks, he didn't have a shirt on a lot, and now he wears a shirt all the time, and you can just tell that he's like ballooning out.
Yeah, he's getting comfortable in that showman's life.
Yeah.
All right, Erin, I think that's all I got for tonight.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it all.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. This was great.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for today. Extra special thanks to our guest, Erin Miller. Don't forget to check out our website, www.troycast.com, and don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes for a chance at that $25 Amazon e-gift card. Until next time, keep on loving each other.